Okay, I call to order the Oregon School District Board of Directors meeting of February 10th. Will you all please rise and tonight's word? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Introduction of the board, Nicole.
O'Neill. John Salvador.
PJ Anderson. Randy Garman. Great. Any agenda revisions? Approval of the board minutes of January 14th.
I have some revisions to the board meeting minutes. Not for the January 14th. Excuse me.
Approval of the January 14th minutes.
Motion's been made, seconded, to approve the board meetings of January 14th. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Those are passed. Approval of the board workshop minutes of January 23rd.
I have some revisions to those. First of all, I did not read a letter by my attorney. The public comments I gave were written by me. And while they were around the formal written complaint, they were actually more about how the board chair and board vice chair shared board communications with staff members and complaints, and about how the formal complaint process has been used in a pattern to intimidate and harass board members who have been responsive to community concerns. Also, then, we didn't actually discuss the three-part evaluation tool, the goal statement, or the 360 evaluation. Those were introduced, but the board vice chair moved to end the meeting before we could have a substantive discussion, and we left within 20 minutes. These minutes here do not accurately reflect any of those events.
I believe we asked for a copy of your reading, and you turned that down?
Yes, because minutes should be being taken, and this brings up a great point. So we should be recording these, and then that was all that.
We did record the meeting.
Right.
I so moved that we approve the minutes from the workshop.
Second.
Okay, the motion is made and seconded to approve the minutes of the board workshop on January 23rd as written. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Abstained. Okay. So moved. All right, student representatives report. Okay, do you like to go by Pete or PJ?
Either one. I'll respond to either. PJ works. Everybody calls me PJ.
Yeah, okay, PJ Myers, take her away.
All right. Good evening. My name is Steve Jenkins. I'm the senior class president, and I'm excited to share an update from student leadership. We've had a lot of fun things happening at our school since we last spoke, including a couple snow days, which actually interrupted our last meeting. Our canned food drive kept us busy throughout December. Overall, the student body hustled and bustled to raise $3,000 and collect 10,000 pounds of food. We wrapped up the canned food drive with a holiday assembly featuring the amazing teacher-based band staff confection, and crowned the winner of the 2018 canned food drive, which was Miss Shields. After all was said and done, Sandy High School leadership and the help of Juanis packed up all the food and got it ready to deliver to the community. In January, our ASB and class officers had our first official meeting. We learned how to use Robert's rules and discussed winter formal ASB election requirements, and we made an agenda for the next meeting.
Hey,
Yeah.
you move that mic a little closer so everybody can hear.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I'll talk louder.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
That's that mic.
Can we fix the mic?
DJ's chairs though. It doesn't sound like they're on. Yeah, just that one.
Test.
Winter formal was a success as students danced under the moon and stars down in the lower commons. Our current focus starting this week is on ballograms. Students can purchase a goodie that will be delivered to another student for Valentine's Day. It's a great way to spread the Valentine's Day spirit. We are also beginning to plan classified and teacher appreciation. and of course, Mr. Dornbecker. Overall, Sandy leadership is very excited for all the great things we have coming up, and we are ready for whatever the next couple months hold for us. Whatever we have to do to make our student body happy. On behalf of leadership and student government, thanks for all your continued support, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Anyone have any questions? Okay, we're into,
Thank you.
we'll see you next time up here. Or who's next? Are you guys taking turns?
We'll see. Maybe me, maybe somebody
All
else.
right, well, thank you very much for coming up. Okay, the mock trials team, are they here? Did they make it? No? Oh, really wanted to hear from them. Yeah. Superintendent's report, Aaron Bear.
I don't have anything for you this evening. All the academic stuff, but Mr. Warner is going to do his best to address here in just a bit.
What about the, when are we going to get the results for the bond measure survey?
So the executive summary has not come back to us yet, so as soon as we get that, which should be within the week, we're going to have a conversation about that at our board workshop on February 27th.
Okay.
That should be great. We're all looking at that one, for sure. Okay, citizens agenda. I know we have some people that want to speak here tonight. And we encourage that. This is a time for the public to express their views. I am going to have us adhere to the 3-minute limitation. So we're going to be going 3 minutes for each speaker up there. And I'm going to take them in no set in order. Evelyn McLean.
My name is Evelyn McLean, and I attended the board meeting on January 14th where it was mentioned that a public complaint had been filed against a member of the school board. When questioned about the complaint, Mr. Anderson indicated that he took the complaint quite seriously and was having his legal team look at the complaint, and he further indicated that they may potentially hire a private investigator to further lead the investigation. On January 23rd, I attended the second board meeting, which, by the way, the notes that were just approved really are false, but at least it's noted. It was at that meeting that I asked for a copy of that public complaint. I received an email from Mr. Anderson the following day stating that they were working on my request, but for legal counsel, some of the complaint would be redacted. I responded to the request and asked that I receive a letter directly from their legal counsel and that it be on their letterhead stating why information on a public report or a public complaint would be redacted. As of today, I never did receive a letter. I did, however, pick up a copy of the complaint. Come to find out, I'm personally mentioned in it. I want to respond directly to the allegations that are made in this complaint as they pertain to me, and that I don't have time to read it all. I'll just read the one paragraph I mentioned in several. It's important to understand that Ms. McLean is a non-resident business owner in Sandy, and the board member O'Neill's husband is the city planner. The fact that Ms. McLean is continually doing the bidding of Ms. O'Neill is not only unseemly, it portends a more sordid relationship that warrants a much closer examination of the facts to determine if Ms. O'Neill is putting undue pressure on Ms. McLean to coerce her into aiding Ms. O'Neill in the harassment of me. We'll get to the meat. Ms. O'Neill's obvious conflict of interest, one has to wonder why she just didn't make these inquiries on her own. The complaint was made by Mr. Bucci, and I take great offense to the things that he alluded to in this complaint.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's
You
public.
cannot, no.
Okay, then I'll redact that. As a business person who has a strong reputation, the suggestions are offensive and outrageous, and your complaint makes me question the stability of his mental being. As for me asking for salary or information regarding employees, I asked for Mr. Bayer's salary around the same time I was questioning other people's salary. And if it makes him feel any better, I also inquired into salaries of previous people as well. As for the complaint, when I read it, I thought to myself, is this person about to sue the school district? It sounds like it. In closing, I want to acknowledge that I spoke out of order during the meeting on January 23rd, and I wanted to apologize to the citizens that did attend. I also want it noted
on minutes that I did offer to leave the room, as did the other person that was making complaints.
Thank you. There we go. Crystal Polgorish, is that right?
Helgor.
Polgorish, did I do well?
Thank you. Yeah, you're pretty good.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, everyone. I hate doing this. Bear with it here. All right, so as a member of the community and a person that has children in the school system, I am speaking for many that have expressed a concern and questions revolving around the behavior and actions of the school board. I admit that I have only been to one school board meeting last year, and I was appalled by the experience as a new member, parent in the school system. I witnessed what I can only describe as bullying by the OTA director when a parent came to the only person she felt she could make change to the safety of our children. There were direct intimidations toward the teacher by this director. Concerns were brought to this school board meeting, and no comment or reaction was given at that meeting. It was incredibly unsettling when concerns are brought to the board and a statement has still not been given months and months later. Discussions at the same meeting regarding teachers leaving OTA was alarming. With the interest, I will be interested to see which teachers stay after this year. I'm aware that the 8th grade teacher and the school counselor have already departed this year, and the school year is only half through. As a parent, I have to say that it is incredibly unsettling, and I'm asking, why are the teachers leaving? Why has there no statement been given regarding concerned parents and regarding the safety of our children at recess at OTA? Also, I'd like to address the behavior of the board at the recent workshop. I was absolutely appalled by the facial expressions and audible displeasure that our chair of the board was making when Nicole O'Neill was reading her letter as a public member and not as a school board member. I was embarrassed as a member of this community to see the childish behavior by Mr. Anderson. My hope in attending these workshops was to see how the board essentially gets things done and to get more involved, and I witnessed the primary discussion of the district superintendent assessment seemed to cause a sense of defensiveness by the board, and that the workshop was called to a close early. I realize that there are people at the meeting speaking out of order at the workshop, but I agree. How are questions answered if the board does not reply via email or address concerns at workshops or at board meetings? I would also like to just say that the board meeting minutes in no way represented what occurred that night. So my questions moving forward are, when will the discussion on how to do a reasonable and clear assessment of Mr. Bayer as the superintendent be done, since that was abruptly adjourned? And according to the American Association of School Administrators, quote, the need of effectively evaluating superintendents of schools annually is not only a fundamental responsibility of the boards that employ them, but also it is legally required in most states. How are the community members also able to hold board members accountable? My requests are that I request that the workshops be clearly publicized, as many community members don't know when they are. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you very much.
Crystal, you bring up a great point about getting the workshops publicized. I totally agree with that statement. About your question about when the evaluation training is going to be done, I have asked that several times. I was told that it was going to be happening in March, but I have not received any range of dates that would indicate that scheduling was imminent. So, but once I find out about that, I will be letting people know.
Okay, let's take Mr. Paul Elmore.
Good evening, citizens. In 1991, I was stationed in Germany when the Berlin Wall came down. Me and a buddy went to Berlin on the weekend to be part of the celebration. In the streets, families hadn't seen each other for 40 years. There were tears of joy, champagne. People were drunk with liberation. Soon I went through Poland and Czechoslovakia and saw the gray, dismal buildings, the rotting infrastructure, almost a year after the wall came down, I went back to Europe and visited those places again. Those gray, lifeless buildings had paint and flower boxes. They looked like different countries. There's no better feeling than liberation. Over the last few years, running for school board, I've talked to parents and students. I've asked a simple question: what would you change about the school? Because of the cost of my GI Bill education was so high, I thought I should put some considerable effort into it. I took some education classes, and in those education classes, I was taught not to use derogatory words. Use our statements. Don't attack someone's self-esteem. Don't define someone else's state of being. It belongs to them. These are personal things we decide for ourselves. Address the behavior. You are great, however, is not a derogatory statement. When interviewing mostly the parents and children of lower economic and social status, I set aside their personal stories and created a list of behaviors of the staff, teacher, and administration that the children and parents objected to. And number one is public humiliation. Number two is gossip. 3 is group punishments and roundups. 4 is name calling. And number 5 is repercussions. When I asked parents, why don't you make a formal written complaint as per policy? Their answer was the fear that their children would suffer repercussions. Since being a mandatory reporter, I can testify to the fact and have documentation to the fact that it is the case that the school board, superintendent, and administrators routinely bury serious misconduct
Go ahead and wrap it up,
in a
Paul.
long and arduous complaint process. The results are, more often than not, that it ends in repercussions. Being a student, I did my homework on these maladaptive behaviors, and I found out that they are not peer-reviewed.
Your 3 minutes is up,
And they're
sir.
not okay. All right, well, I'll tell you this. I have more to say, and what I will do is I'm going to put this on the parent Facebook page, and as soon as the other speakers are done, I'll be out in the hall.
Thank you. Carol Robinson.
I'll try and make this sweet. I forgot my glasses at home. So, I'm here tonight to talk about a formal response to a formal complaint that I made. I spoke at a November school board meeting, and I was voicing frustration because I wasn't hearing anything back about my complaint. The meeting that I was met with, which I have the minutes for, I was one of 5 speakers. I was the only speaker to have the colored buttons for being timed. None of the other speakers got timed because they were 3 union reps, and one of them was a retired teacher, and all of them were speaking good about the district. So if that sets a tone for how our president DJ runs school board meetings, if you have anything ill to say about our district, you will most likely be standing up here with these pressure buttons. So, after the meeting, which I felt very intimidated by being confronted by the teacher union, and the subsequent retired employee essentially telling me that there's nothing wrong with this district, then I got the response to my complaint. It was a 5-page diatribe written and signed by DJ Anderson. And I emailed it immediately to every single board member and asked them, he says he's speaking for you. If this is true, then I expected not to hear a response. The only one I heard from was Nicole O'Neill that said, in fact, this was not discussed, and she does not feel that this reflects her thoughts. So, for the rest of you, since I didn't hear otherwise, this was a 5-page rant that picked apart my complaint line by line and told me, essentially, why I was wrong. And in it, it was, had lots of statistics thrown at me. There were lots of sentences like, we in the district. It was very strange. And quite frankly, completely inappropriate to send to any parent and any community member that's trying to make a valid point of change. And if any of you would like to see it, I can send it to you. I have it here. 5 pages to a 1-paragraph complaint about how I did not feel the board was adequately monitoring our superintendent and evaluating him, which I was then confirmed by the board, the Oregon School Board Association, that they had not, in fact, been doing that. So, here's where I stand. I also this morning received the complaint against one of the school board members, and I wanted to finish that, and I will. Lastly, I have read the public complaint against Nicole O'Neill, who helped me through this whole process of complaints. And I am here to say that Nicole did not coach me in any way. She has done nothing wrong but be a board member and do what a board member is supposed to do. She listened and helped community members with concerns and helped navigate to help get my complaint heard and properly addressed. It's absurd for
Okay, Kara,
anyone
can
to...
you wrap that up?
No, I will finish. You let the teacher
Kara.
union reps speak for 4.5 minutes.
I have let.
Thank you. 4.5 minutes. The union reps stood up here as citizens according to your minutes in the citizen agenda, and you let them...
I grant you at both times and both sides of the issue, I have let speakers speak over. I did say before the meeting started tonight, we were going to adhere to the 3 minutes.
You said that meeting too.
I did
and
not.
You let them... You did. Right here. I highlighted it. You said it on that meeting, 3 minutes for citizen agenda, and you let them speak for 4.5 minutes.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to engage in this
You are
conversation.
very much disrespectful.
Biased. You
You
are
have
being
had your
biased to
time.
community members, and you have it on record in minutes. I recorded those teacher union reps. You let them speak for 4.5 minutes as citizens, and you
that
cut
we've
all of it
I
off.
have in the past, as I've just said, let speakers on both sides, include you and other people up here, in previous meetings over the 3-minute mark.
No, you have cut me off every time.
Okay, I'm not going to argue.
And you can't because you don't record
Next
your meeting.
speaker will be.
No accountability. Bullshit.
Record the meetings.
Okay, Nicole O'Neill, you may take the podium.
First of all, I just want to say I am excited to see so many faces here tonight. If this is your first board meeting or your 50th, thank you for coming. I am glad you're here. Because you being here means you care about our schools. And that is so, so valuable. This is what community involvement looks like, and it makes our schools stronger. We do not have to agree with each other to work together. In fact, disagreeing, challenging each other is healthy. That is what makes us mindful, aware of other points of view, and ensures that any course of action is being taken purposefully and after full consideration. Too often, I hear that community members and organizations have reached out to the board or the district offices and do not receive a response. No one calls or emails them back. That's unacceptable. As I have said repeatedly in the past, I am concerned with how staff members and community members who raise issues are being treated. Sandy City Council has reached out to the board multiple times about a joint school board city council meeting. Facilities, bond measures, child care, and early childhood education. These are all areas the city and the school district could be, should be, working together on. The City of Sandy is willing and eager to work with us. I will be emailing City Manager Jordan Wheeler, Mayor Stan Pulliam, our Superintendent and Board Chair tomorrow about scheduling that joint meeting. While this meeting hasn't happened yet, I am confident we can get together in the next few months on supporting our whole community. Oregon Trail schools are doing well. Our graduation rate is up, as are our test scores. But there are so many conversations that we should be having. School boundaries, school start times, supporting math instruction, affordable preschool and childcare, reducing or eliminating facility fees, improving relationships with community organizations, building trust with the community at large. These are all things we should be looking at. These are the conversations I want to be having. The fact that so many people are here today means you are interested in having real conversations as well. Going forward, I'll be focusing on 3 of these issues. 1, building more positive relationships with other community organizations, starting with the City of Sandy. 2, reducing...
Hold on here, you're speaking as a citizen, not a board member.
Yes, but as a board member, I will be working on these things. Reducing or eliminating facility fees so that local organizations like dance schools and youth sports can use the OTSD fields and theaters instead of having to have events in Gresham because of high fees. I have tried repeatedly to get this on a board meeting agenda. I am hopeful it will be added to the March agenda. 3, work with the City of Sandy and Clackamas Education Service District on getting an affordable preschool daycare program at Sandy High School. I would love to hear staff and community members' thoughts on any of these issues or any other positive changes staff or community members would like to see. Again, thank you community members for coming tonight. I will continue to be responsive to your concerns.
Thank you. Kirsten Pitzer.
Hi, good evening. If you don't know me, I am a parent here in the community. I have graduated 5 students out of Sandy High School. I currently have students at Furwood Elementary and at Cedar Ridge Middle School. I have spent 8 years as a classroom teacher, another 8 years at Cedar Ridge Middle School working with the after-school program with a grant from Clackamas County. I'm currently the director of a local nonprofit that serves the Oregon Trail School District. I'm coming here tonight because I'm very dismayed to hear some serious buzzwords that have been going around our district, and those words are harassment, intimidation, and bullying. The election system for school board members is designed for each of our community members to have a representative at this table. I think I speak for more people than myself when I say I don't want to be represented by bullying, harassment, or intimidation. Our school district officials in the administrative office have salaries that are largely provided by us as citizens, and I don't want to pay salaries for bullying, harassment, or intimidation. As school board members, I ask that you would speak with your community members who you're representing and find out how we want to be represented. Those are some important conversations that need to be had, and they're not happening. Several times we've come to the board and said, could we please have some town hall meetings to address situations that this community has questions about, and we've been told that those will happen, and they've never happened. We have graduated beyond the elephant in the room to the small herd of elephants in the room. Those are questions that are not being answered. And here's the problem. We have a district that's coming to our community with a very big ask, with a very big price tag. The only way that you're going to get the people in this community to open their wallets is if we can build a sense of trust with our school board and our school administration. Trust is built through transparency. The idea of transparency is highly valuable if we want to have a successful operation as this school district to bring together our parents, our community, administration, teachers, and our children all to the table for this conversation that needs to happen. It takes an entire community for this to happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for speaking tonight. In regards to the workshop that we're working on for superintendent, to answer the question on that, yes, we are working on that. Dates, we're also running the budget meetings and times right now, so scheduling is getting tough. Unfortunately, that meeting got cut short when we were doing it the first time. So, with that said, let's move on to classified staff update. Laura Kwame.